Well, howdy. Hi, guys. Hope everybody's doing good. Welcome to another book club. We're back. Hi, welcome, Winterset. I hope you're doing well. Good to see you. I know, man, dude. I'm still. I can feel that tickle right down the, right down there. It is strong tickle today, but it'll go away. We'll cough and make it go away. Like, we're back for book club. I'm so excited. I'm so ready to figure out like what's going on. Let me get Squonk up here too, real quick. Sorry, I gotta, I think, add the window capture again. No, there we go. There we go. Well, that's the whole server. How did I do that last time? This is what I did. Okay. Sorry, guys. Thank you for bearing with me. Huh? Why isn't it there? Is that it? Did I literally just do that? Yay! It is there. Okay. Hey, Squonk, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Yay! Now we can hear you too. Just making sure.
Yay, there we go.
Yeah. Awesome. Sorry, I was doing all this stuff. I don't know, my soundboard be doing shit. But now we got you up on screen too. Yeah.
Yeah, all good. I just couldn't hear myself there for a moment. I think it was just the stream delay.
Yes, exactly. Okay, yeah, 3 streak. What? Let's go. Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Let me make sure I also do that thing, the sound alert warning really quick. Sorry, guys.
Good.
Working. Your channel points for. There's that, and then I can pin it. There we go. Just so that you guys make sure you save your channel points. Cool.
Yeah.
So, recap. Do you want to recap at all, or I don't mind, but
I mean, you can do it.
Cool. Word up. So, basically, Gemma and Ty were not only trying to like continue to find Gemma's brother, but then also like keeping an eye out for the Sea Blight gang folks, and also wanting to talk to the ranger, I think in general, but then they actually were in the bar. I can't remember what it's called. Deep down, and they saw Shade, which is our main villain, and freaked out, and they were like trying to I mean, obviously Gemma was not being the smoothest. And they got themselves a little noticed, and Shade definitely recognized Ty from their previous interactions, and there was some stuff. They went and they tried to get the ranger, and Gemma tried to go get the ranger. Ty tried to distract and keep the rest of the folks there, even though Shade had disappeared. And then they
find out Shade isn't even really albino.
Yes, that also. Yeah, like that's a whole other twist.
Also, do you think his eyes are all black because they're tattooed as well?
Right, because he's covered in tattoos. That could definitely be why. Yeah,
but
and
yeah,
so
they went and talked to the ranger about seeing Shade in the lounge.
Yeah, and the ranger was no help at all.
Oh, of course, because he's useless.
Yeah, and was also like deep sea racist. I don't know, racist towards dark life, quote unquote.
Right.
and people
Didn't
who
the last
live
chapter end
undersea.
off with Jade popping up in the freaking elevator?
Yeah, literally. I think he said, what was his last word? I left you in the deep sea. I'd crap my pants. If I saw him
Ugh.
in the elevator and he just goes, I thought I left you in the deep sea. Ah! Fear.
Right.
And then,
Being haunted by a living person. Fun,
yeah,
fun.
literally. And that's basically where we left off, was Ty finding Shade, leaning against the elevator. And that was our cliffhanger. And so now we're about to pick up.
Right?
I think was I the last reader?
I think so.
Okay, so it's your turn to start if you want.
Okie dokes.
Word the heck up. How are you doing also?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. How
Good.
are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I slept in and kind of just, cleaned all day. So I'm happy to be here and like doing something fun.
Nice. Good sleep and productive.
Yeah, it's a good combo.
Alrighty.
Get your books, kids.
Chapter 16.
Sorry.
You're fine. Water surrounded the elevator, giving the interior an eerie glow. Frozen in place, I registered every detail of the outlaw. The pockmarked skin, the black tattoos that covered Shade's head, neck, and shoulders like tentacles, and his perfectly normal dark brown eyes. No wonder he wore black contact lenses when he was trying to pass for albino. I backed away. I don't know what you're. Don't ink me. He punched a knuckle onto the emergency stop button. The elevator jerked to a halt halfway down the cable. I know when I've been made. His anger was no more than a flash, but it was enough to terrify me into dropping all pretenses. What do you want? Let's start with what you told the ranger. About? I slid my fingers toward my knife holster, refusing to panic. You've seen the real me. That's gotta be worth a pat on the head. The outlaw stepped forward. Considering that Grimes has been swimming in circles for over a year searching for an albino. Dropping his gaze, Shade burned my hand with his stare. I told him you're dark-skinned. I straightened, leaving my knife in its holster. Only then did Shade raise his gaze. But he didn't believe me. That's so, Shade drawled. I tried to cop Eel's nonchalant attitude in the saloon. Ranger Grimes hates all settlers, thinks we're crazy and stupid for living subsea. I could swear that the outlaw's tattoos were now moving, sliding over his arms, writhing like sea snakes. He kicked me out of his office for wasting his time. I blinked. All and Shade's tattoos were back in place. You didn't answer me, Shade chided. Yes, anyone else would have gotten lost in the open ocean, eaten, but not you. Why? Luck? I said. A ghost of a smile floated over his lips. Some might call it a gift. He studied me for a moment. A dark gift. There's no such thing, I said stiffly. Dark gifts are a myth. White teeth gleamed in the shadows as he circled the column. I should know, I went on, following him with my eyes. If any kid would have one, it would be me. I was born subsea. Now that's interesting. As I twisted to keep him in sight, Shade grabbed me by the back of my neck. Here I was planning on choking the life out of you. His tone was harsh as his hold. To keep you quiet forever. I felt my pulse throbbing under his fingertips. But you're born and bred dark life, he went on.
Ooh.
And that's something. His fingers bit into my flesh. Don't you ever, his grip tightened,
Ooh.
let anyone tell you different, especially not some government stooge. He released me and knuckled the emergency button again. As the elevator resumed its descent, I clenched my teeth to hold in a cough. I wouldn't give him that satisfaction. Smirking, Shade eyed me as if he knew exactly what I was doing. Kid, I'm giving you one chance. One. The elevator doors slid open. Talk about me again, I will kill you. With that, he stepped out of the elevator and disappeared into the shadows.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking the dark gifts might be a little bit more real than he gives them credit for.
Yeah. Seriously. My brain is just like,
Right, that would be such an unsettling encounter to have, especially in as tight a space as an elevator.
literally an elevator with like someone who's, yeah, that scary. I would be, yeah, pissing. Not to say the least. Like, yo, Golden Dog, welcome in. We're doing book club right now.
Okay.
Reading Dark Life. Yeah, wow. And he says, talk about me again and I'll kill you. Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And now he knows like exactly
Indeed.
who he is, what he looks like. I mean, he knew already, but up close and personal.
Right. Like, yeah, no, he's gotten several encounters with him at this point. Like, he is familiar with Ty, which,
Yeah.
hey, that's super fun.
Yeah, seriously. Oh boy. Okay, well, chapter 17. Still shaken from my encounter with Shade, I zoomed the slicky to the surface and crashed through the waves. Why'd he let me go? Why hadn't he killed me? It wasn't mercy. No, it was something else. But I wasn't sure what. When the spray settled around the egg-shaped mini sub, I saw Gemma standing on the docking ring with a large duffel bag by her feet. Her back to me, she stomped out the stained, baggy pants and kicked them through an open door. Oh, she stomped out of the stained, baggy pants and kicked them through an open door into the visitor's lounge. I steered the slicky into a vacant slip several hitching posts down from her and popped the hatch. Though it was only mid-afternoon, the sky was as dark as dusk, which was more than fine with me. I tipped my face toward the gray clouds and welcomed the feel of rain on my skin. Water in any form cleared my mind. Even the throb in my neck where Shade had gripped me dulled. There was no fish market on the weekends, so the surface deck was nearly deserted, exactly how I liked it. Only a couple of fishermen fought their way through the downpour. As I stood on the seat, a chill slid over me. Not a stiff breeze, but a sense of alarm. Why? I scanned the surface deck. Something was wrong with the view, though exactly what I couldn't tell. Gemma, I yelled. Over! The word shriveled in my throat as movement caught my eye. On the promenade, a dark form glided against the backdrop of gray sky. Its outline was human, but the figure was featureless. A shadow, yet there was no sun out, or man nearby to cast it. Ty, she waved, oblivious to the patch of the night that grew larger as it neared the railing above her. Scooping up her duffel, she sprinted down the docking ring toward me. The shadow halted. When it raised its head to watch her go, I gasped. Twin red embers blazed where its eyes should have been, and then the embers were extinguished and the shadow disappeared. Oh my god, sorry. That's the end of the paragraph. My brain is just like, oh, that's scary.
Right.
Yeah, see, Winterset just said, I'm realizing just how much I've missed listening to others read. That's awesome, and that's like why we started doing this, because it's just fun. I like also listening to other people read. So I'm really glad that you're enjoying it, homie. We're happy you're here.
Absolutely.
It's so
such
fun.
a refreshing change of pace.
Yeah. I always enjoyed reading out loud too, so it's like cool. I get to listen and like do it. I love that we're doing this.
Right.
Are you really going to tell the other settlers that Shade isn't an albino? Gemma asked after I'd filled her in. That voice crack was crazy. Whoa.
You're just kidding, though.
I know. Oh my gosh. Gemma asked after.
Too, if I just got gripped by a fucking outlaw like that.
I know, like I feel the fear. Like I really do. Whew. Whew. Gemma asked after I'd filled her in. It was 15 minutes since the strange shadow had passed. The slicky dropped through the sunlit water toward the dark blue of the deep. As soon as we get home. But Shade said he'll kill you. I don't care what he said. I don't obey outlaws or keep their secrets. I leveled off the mini-sub at a depth of 70 feet, where only the brightest rays of sunlight pierced the water, but we weren't likely to run into any divers or fishing nets. But what if he comes after you? I hope he does. There are over 200 homesteads down here. If Shade searches everyone looking for me, someone is bound to harpoon him. He might wait for you to show up at the trade station again. That thought tightened my gut. Maybe. But if the settlers know that he isn't albino, maybe we can catch him. With Shade in jail, Benthic territory will have a chance. You mean your parents will stay and you'll be able to stake a claim in 3 years? 2.5. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping, I admitted. Well, I hope he gets eaten by a killer whale. Orcas don't eat people. Steering with one hand, I unzipped the pouch on my belt. I still have your brother's photo. As I offered it to her, I realized that my impression of the skinny, freckled boy had changed. Yesterday, I'd only noticed that her brother shared her russet hair and blue eyes. Now, I saw the twinkle in Richard's eyes, and that his smile was genuine and warm. Of course, now I knew that he'd jeopardized his freedom to make sure that his little sister didn't feel abandoned. It would be easier if he was more distinctive looking, Gemma said, taking the photo, like you. Her words packed the pain of a sucker punch. I'm not distinctive looking. Yeah, that's a crazy thing to say. I'm sorry, but that feels so crazy. What do you mean? That would offend me.
You know, if you look like more of a freak. Like
Yeah,
you, Ty.
yeah, distinctive is crazy. What? Hey.
Distinctive.
Yeah, like it's not like an insulting word, but in this context, it hurts. I don't know why.
Right.
Her lips twitched. Is also a crazy reaction. Oh, there we go. Oh shit. Huh? I think I accidentally hit. Okay, there we go. There we go. I went like 3 pages back somehow. Okay. Her lips twitched. Except for my shine, I look totally normal. I knew I sounded defensive, but I couldn't help it. Gemma snickered and heat flashed through me. Are you laughing at me? Yes, she said empathetically. You think those women yesterday wanted to touch you just because of your skin? Wait a minute.
You calling him, huh?
I literally called it. Oh my god. Today in the story, I was like, are they going to have a little moment? Is this going to happen? We've been waiting. Sorry.
You good?
Okay. They've never seen a shine before. It happens all the time. Why did she insist on talking about things I just as soon forget? You're so stupid, she said, barely containing her amusement. If we were on the mainland, girls would break my arm to stand next to you. If you're trying to say they like me, you're wrong. Mainland girls visit the trade station. Not often, but if I come along when they're there, know what happens? They stop doing whatever they're doing and stare. I bet. Okay. Not like that. They stare like I belong in a floating sideshow. Kind of like the look she was giving me now. Oh my god. After a moment, she said, you know, you're right. Except for your shine, you're not distinctive at all. A smile hovered on her lips. And if a girl stares at you, pay no attention to her. I relaxed. I'm not that thin-skinned. No, really, ignore her completely. Gemma was pleased this could be about something, but who knew what? Her words were like silt clouding the water. Looking back to her brother's photo, she made a fist and then pressed it to her chest. What was that? Just something we used to do across the air shaft, she replied. Richard would stand at the window in the boys' dorm before lights out and wait for me. She held up her fist. This meant stay tough. And this, she touched her fist to her heart, meant he loved me. I turned back to control the console and checked out her position to avoid talking in case my voice came out choked. No wonder being tough was so important to her. Did Zoe care so much about what I thought of her? I seriously doubted it. But then, wasn't her only living relative. What are you looking at? Gemma asked. Happy to change the subject, I told her. Everything around and below us. I ran my finger over the continuously shifting graphic of the ocean floor, then straightened with realization. You know what? We're near the building that Doc said was Seablight Prison. Okay. We should not be near this building. What?
Hi, what are you about to do?
You both are like 14. You can't do this. It's unsafe, bro.
Hi's 15 and a half, remember?
Okay, 15 and a half. You sound like him when he was like 2.5 on the settlement time. It's true though. He's 15 and a half. It counts. It's different.
No, I just gotta make a joke because he keeps
course.
bringing up that half of a year.
And
Like,
that's
no,
so
no, no,
him.
it's not 3, it's 2.5
That's so him.
years.
Hey, I'm not 14. I'm 15 and a half, bitch. It's true. Oh my god, I can't. And now they're near. Oh, okay.
Truly such a classic teenager thing to do, though.
It's for real. Oh, let's go to the old prison. Fuck. Okay. Oh my god. I didn't even read her next response, which is, again, just so teenager. Really? Let's go.
What's that?
What? Really? Let's go. What's that? Oh my god.
Fucking A. These assholes were running headlong into danger. They just said, oh, yes, please.
It's so hard because it's like, I can't help but like feel so worried about them.
Right.
My maternal instinct is like, no, 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 no.
Don't do that. It's dangerous.
I know it's like a book. It's a fantasy. This is a fantasy world, all that stuff. But I'm like,
Just the
no.
thought of a bunch of teenagers being like, oh yeah, let's totally go explore that potentially still active and running experimental prison.
Exactly. Hello. Even my 14-year-old, 15 and a half-year-old self would have been terrified to do that. So these are like, they're just
Right.
different. They're so different, built different. Different world at this time.
Like that.
Yeah, like, oh my god, my brain is just, okay. Sorry, I also, like, my brain kind of puts myself into, like, the character's shoes, so I can't help but, I'm so, like, I always feel like I'm experiencing, like, the emotions of it as I go, so if I'm being dramatic, apologize.
Yeah.
Alright. Really? Let's go. What's that? She leaned across me to tap a corner of the screen. The metallic fabric of my dive skin kept me from feeling the warmth of her arm stretched across my chest, but I imagined I could. There it is. She pointed out the window. I followed her gesture and saw something huge and dark off to the right. Suddenly, it dropped back. What? I cursed under my breath. I'd let myself get so distracted by her. I hadn't paid attention to the monitor. I zoomed the mini sub upward, and a shape popped onto the sonar screen. My mouth grew dry. Is it a whale? She asked, leaning into me for a better look at the monitor. As quickly as it appeared, the thing shot up and off the screen again. I looked up through the cockpit's glass cover. Whales don't avoid sonar readings. I tried to stay calm. Sorry, I'm taking a dab.
Well, good. I'm just getting a dab ready.
I need one to deal with my anxiety for the characters right now. Okay. Oh, God. You think it's staying off our monitor on purpose? Yeah. I needed a plan. Quick. Even if I sent out a distress signal, no one would be able to get to us in time. You know what? You still should. Okay. Is it a sub? Only one submarine had that shape. I took a breath. It's the Spectre. Shade must have followed us from the trade station. Speed up. We can't outrun. The beating of 100 pebbles hitting the roof cut off my words. What was that? A net. I nodded at the viewport, which was covered with titanium mesh, impossible to cut through. I shoved the joystick forward, causing the Slicky's nose to dip, trying to duck under the net's weighted edge, but it had already drawn close around us. We were caught like halibut. All that was left to do was haul us in. Looking up through the hatch, I saw the Spectre high above us in the blue water. A circle of light appeared on the bottom of the Outlaw's sub as the cover of the port slid back. A tough layer of the clear plastic covered the opening, with an X sliced into its center. The Outlaws would draw up their catch, positioning the Slicky right under the opening, until the hatch pushed through the center slit. I clamped the hatch lock, even though I knew that would only slow them down, not stop them from prying open the Slicky's cockpit like a clamshell. But Shade said he was giving you one chance, Gemma said. I wrestled with the joystick, putting the sub into a hard reverse. The engine screamed in reaction. Can you believe it? I said. Shade lied. You don't have to be sarcastic. Sorry, I'm not used to being hunted by an outlaw. The Spectre sped forward, dragging us along. I banged the control panel. The Slicky's engine was no match against the Spectre's. Giving up, I cut the motor. Instantly, the mini-sub jerked upward. No way am I letting Shade haul us in. Ty, he is hauling us in. No, he's taking up the sub. I switched on the Slicky's heartbeat, a low mechanical pulse that would lead me to her later. But we won't be inside. We're going to jump ship. Her mouth spilled open. At this speed, by the time they get the Slicky into position and crack the hatch, they'll have crossed a mile at least. Shade won't know where to start looking for us. There could be sharks out there. There could be sharks out there. You'd rather be kidnapped by outlaws? I thrust her helmet into her hands. Versus being eaten alive? Hard choice. Now who's being sarcastic? She glared at me like it was my fault that we were caught in a net. I was tempted to point out that she was the one who'd insisted on going into the saloon. We'll swim to Peavy's. I'm not leaving this sub. A lot of settlers are there. I can't swim. I paused, taken aback. You came sub-sea and you don't know how to swim? Don't make a big deal of it. Okay, listen, I said, trying to sound reassuring. You don't have to swim. We're going to fall. You can fall, can't you? A shark doesn't care if you're swimming or If there are any sharks around, I'll draw my shock prod, I promise. We've got to go now. She didn't budge. No way. You can't see a shark this deep until it's already bitten off your head. If a predator is coming our way, I'll know. How? There was no other way. I had to tell her. I had to trust her. I have a dark gift, I said, though I didn't look at her. I focused on snapping my helmet into place. I have a dark gift. Did I really just admit it out loud? You said there's no such thing, she accused. I lied, because I'm not always so good. Put your helmet on.
Ooh.
Oh boy.
So his underwater current shit absolutely was a dark gift.
Yeah. Yeah. For real. I knew. It kept coming up. It's not just for no reason.
Right.
Oh my gosh. The way that also Ty did not catch at all that she was calling him hot.
Oh my gosh, no.
Just did not
He's
clock
so
it.
caught up in his own personal, mindset that everybody thinks he's a freak, that he totally failed to catch the fact that Gemma was calling him hot.
Literally.
Yeah. Like,
He's
I don't
like,
know what
huh?
you're talking about. This ugly mug.
Me? Who, me?
For real, for real. And I love how at the end she was like, you know what? Actually, fine.
Fine,
Sure,
okay.
believe that if you want. Makes it easier for me.
Exactly. Girl.
Wonder what she's so happy about. Maybe the fact that you just said you ignore all other competition, buddy.
Literally. Literally. Oh my goodness. Oh my god. Yeah. There's so much is happening. So much is happening.
Gemma froze with surprise, or maybe disbelief. I couldn't tell. Plucking her helmet from her hands, I dropped it over her head. I can see with sound, I explained, sealing her helmet. It's called biosonar. You're a Kai? Yeah, I admitted. That's the name the doctors put on my file. It means seaborn. Can we go now? I pulled a lever on the side of my seat so that the back flipped down. How far does it work? I pulled the lever on her seat and sent her sprawling as her chair flattened. A mile, at least. I crawled to the exit port and shoved my feet through the ring. Luckily, the net didn't wrap all the way across the Slicky's underside. I'm going to hang on to the edge outside. Suck in liquigen, then follow me as fast as you can. Wait! I didn't know if it was because she had more questions about my dark gift or because she was still afraid to jump, but I didn't stop to find out. I filled my lungs with liquigen and pushed through the rubber ring, catching hold of the edge of the port as I dropped out. My body whipped against the bottom of the slicky, thrown by the Spectre's speed. Thankfully, Gemma's feet emerged instantly. As she slipped out, I hooked an arm around her waist, and then let go of the ring's edge. Together, we dropped through the midnight-hued water. Gemma turned in my arms to face me, slipped her hands around my waist, and hugged me so tightly our helmets banged together. Behind the acrylic glass, her eyes were scrunched closed. High above us, the Spectre zoomed past, still dragging the mini-sub. Good. The outlaws hadn't seen us exit. We'd be fine, and so would the Slicky, I told myself. Most likely, the outlaws would cut her loose when they found her cockpit empty. Then I'd hunt her down later. Gemma opened her eyes as the sea darkened around us. We floated down through a cyclone of mackerel, flashing silver in the dim sunlight. As a sailfish cut past us, Electric blue stripes appeared on its sides to confuse the mackerel. I felt Gemma's arms tighten around me. I met her eyes, expecting to see fear in her expression, but surprisingly, she was smiling as she took in the beauty of the wildlife swimming past. She flipped on her crown lights. I did the same, but the light only gave us about 20 feet of visibility. I cast out a web of sound to see what was below. The clicks I made in the back of my throat were too high-pitched for Gemma to hear. I'd perfected them over the years, finding the sound that bounced back the quickest and was the easiest to interpret. Then my mind created an image out of the echoes I heard, like the sonar screen in my sub, with the peaks and valleys of the ocean floor sketched out in 3D. Using sign language, I told her to press the button that made fins slide out of the tips of her boots. Seeing her confusion, I chalked it up to another difference between growing up topside versus subsea. Down here, we learned to sign before learning to talk. But then we had to communicate with liquigen-filled lungs. I pushed the control on her wrist screen for her, though even with fins, she didn't seem to get that she had to move her legs to stay level. The computers in our dice-skins automatically tinted our helmets for ultraviolet viewing, and the landscape beneath us jumped into sharp relief. We touched down in the middle of an enormous cloud of pink jellyfish, 1,000 at least, all no bigger than my fist. Gently, I brushed them aside, cutting a path. The siphonophore spun toward us, looking like 20 feet of glowing fishing net hung with silver bells. Gemma recoiled into me. Guessing that she'd never seen one before, I caught her hand and led her closer to the siphonophore. Then I tapped it to make it curl and undulate, knowing my dive glove would protect me from its stinging tentacles. With a quick stroke, I broke off a part. It wasn't one animal, but hundreds, all strung together. I bounced the broken off part in my palm, then sent the shimmering piece over to Gemma. Her eyes were wide with wonder as she cupped her hands around it. Its soft yellow light made her skin glow. I tipped my head to indicate that we should move on, but she couldn't take her eyes from the creature. If a siphonophore rocked her world, wait till she spent some real time down here. Suddenly, I wanted to show her all the amazing places I'd found, and creatures. I wanted to see her face light up like that again. Finally, we began our trek toward the Peavy's homestead. I'd driven over this area many times in a sub, but never trudged along the seafloor. Every moment or so, I clicked rapidly and waited for the echoes to bounce back to me. No large predators moved in the distance. I only saw dolphins. At least 100, swimming, leaping, and feeding near the ocean's surface. I could also feel their clicks and long drawn-out echoes following around us, though I knew that most of their chirps were too high for Gemma's ears. When I caught the signature whistle of a large male diving deeper than the rest, I called to him, beckoning him to come to me. I didn't invite the whole pod, figuring that 100 dolphins descending upon us might startle Gemma. A wise choice, considering that she jerked as if electrocuted when just one 10-foot long, 1,000-pound bottlenose plunged toward us. He turned aside at the very last second to show us his pale belly as he whizzed past. By the time he circled back, Gemma had seen enough of him to realize what he was. This time, when he brushed by, she stood rigidly, arms clamped to her sides as if to give him room to pass. And yet her expression was the most incredible mix of emotions I'd ever seen. Petrified, elated, and awestruck all at once. Maybe I should have called down the whole pod. The dolphin left us just as we reached a steep embankment. Gemma didn't seem to mind the limited visibility so much now that she bounded her way to the top of a hill without waiting for... since she bounded her way to the top of a hill without waiting for me. Once there, she stopped short. I swam up beside her and saw why. The landscape below was filled with giant bones, carelessly flung about by scavengers that had devoured a whale carcass weeks ago, by the look of it. Cartilage floated through the water in ghostly wisps. I gave Gemma's fingers a squeeze and led the way to the edge of the embankment. Gripping her hand even tighter, I leapt off the rocky pinnacle. We floated down the side of an enormous rock face, narrowly avoiding the massive sandstone peaks that jutted up from below. When our dive boots touched the seafloor, the silt erupted with life. Hagfish squirmed out of the muck and over our boots like 1,000 snakes. The ooze under our feet was the last of the decomposing whale flesh, only now it was putrefied. So that only the hagfish could suck it up. Gemma kicked her way upward and away from them. That's when her lack of swimming skills became obvious. Instead of continuing to kick her feet or use her hands to stay afloat, she stopped moving and sank toward the seafloor again. I couldn't help but grin at her efforts. And once she'd caught my silent laughter, she resigned herself to walking. As we passed under the giant skeleton, I started clicking again. Sensing something square and hard-walled off to our left, I decided to make a quick detour before heading to the PBs. Still holding Gemma's hand, led her toward the ugly 2-story building. I could see Sea Blight Prison with my eyes now, dark and abandoned. The first time I'd piloted over it years ago, I thought it was a topside relic from the early 21st century because of all of its angles and corners. One that had somehow survived the subsea landslide that swept most of the flooded buildings into Cold Slate Canyon. Now, facing Sea Blight head-on, I saw that it was an odd hybrid of topside and subsea architecture. Hovering over the seafloor, balanced on tall pylons, clearly it had been constructed down here. Its small windows were round and made of acrylic glass, just like those on old submarines. An airlock shaft dropped from the bottom floor to the seabed. Above, the rusted open door glowed the unsound structure symbol. On the top side, nearly all the buildings along the coast displayed a yellow circle with a black lightning bolt shooting down its middle, though that didn't stop fierce tribes of squatters from living inside the half-submerged skyscrapers. As we neared, Gemma pointed at the yellow circle. I shrugged and continued forward. The Wealth had lied about it being a science lab. I was pretty sure the structurally unsound part was a lie, too. The building looked stable enough. When Gemma pointed again, I realized that she was looking above the neon symbol at letters etched into the metal wall, which read Sea Blight. My parents would forbid me to go poking around inside. I knew that. But maybe I'd find some information or a clue to help the settlers catch the outlaws. Making up my mind, I motioned to Gemma to wait by the lift lock. Before I got 2 steps, it was yanked back by the belt. When I turned, I could barely see her face, only the shake of her head. I'd forgotten. There was no way she was going to just sit back and wait. The elevator inside the lift lock wasn't working. However, there was an open hatch in the elevator ceiling. Swimming upward, I slipped through it. Gemma tried to follow. She gave a valiant effort, but despite all her kicking, she couldn't get herself off the ground for more than a moment. I considered leaving her at the bottom of the lift lock for her own good. What if I was wrong about the building's stability? Still, she'd chosen to come. On her next hop, I caught her by the hand and hoisted her into the elevator shaft. Good. Luckily, she wouldn't have to swim up the shaft. A ladder was mounted to the inside wall. We climbed to the first level, where a set of elevator doors stood open. The entire floor was flooded. I sent clicks upward and saw in my mind that the water ended halfway up another set of open elevator doors. I motioned to Gemma that we should continue up the ladder. As I pulled myself up to balance on the last rung, I broke the water surface and stepped out of the shaft. The sea had flooded the second story of the building, but only up to my waist. Gemma emerged right behind me. As my helmet light illuminated the darkness, I rapped my knuckles against the nearest wall. There was no bounce, no give to the old-fashioned solid metal, which seemed solid enough. The screen on my wrist flashed normal for oxygen level, so I unsealed my dive helmet. Gemma did the same, and I freed my flashlight from my belt. I swept the light over the rivets and iron girders as dribbling water echoed through the chamber. Can I hold the flashlight? Gemma asked through chattering teeth. I passed it to her, and together we took in the strange scene around us. The walls were dark and wet. The ocean leaked in, drip by drip, through seams in the ceiling. In the waist-deep water, old dive skins and liquigen packs floated past as if they'd been dropped just yesterday. Gemma directed the flashlight at the door across the room, with bars on its window, and then illuminated a wall where several pairs of corroded handcuffs hung from pegs. I sloshed over for a closer look. Why are these so long? The chain between the cuffs was at least 2 feet in length. So the inmates can work, she replied. There's a penitentiary in the tower block that faces mine. Every day, guards hustle men into the outside elevators and take them down to the dark alleyways. She touched one of the long chains. The convicts wear handcuffs like these so they can clean up garbage. These prisoners weren't cleaning up anything. I plucked a floating sieve out of the water and ran my fingers across its wide-spaced holes. They were panning for black pearls. That doesn't sound so bad. Would you want to hunker in the ooze all day, straining mud? Well, if you put it that way, it's backbreaking work. I'll bet the outlaws got sick of it, and that's why they escaped, she said, sounding excited by the idea. Or they got sick of the noise. The creaking and scratching had bothered me since we'd entered. Every shift of the surrounding water and underlying muck made the metal hole twist and compress. Maybe the architecture was part of the prisoner's punishment. Who wanted to live in squared-off rooms with hard walls? It was unnatural. I splashed into the next room, the guard's station. I checked in the half-submerged file cabinets. What are you doing? Gemma asked. The beam of the flashlight did strange things to the stainless steel furniture in the room, made it gleam and glimmer. Looking around. All the drawers were empty. Oh, no, you're not. Oh, no, you're not. She hopped onto a submerged metal desk with her legs crossed. She looked like she was attending a tea party, except that she was up to her waist in seawater. She eyed me expectantly. What? Your dark gift? I wondered if it was too late to say I lied just to get her to jump out of the sub. One glance at her face told me not to bother. Why do you keep it a secret? She asked. I sloshed toward the open door at the back of the room, but she was faster. She jumped down and barricaded the doorway with her outstretched arms. So what if people find out that you can do this cool thing? All the pioneers will leave the ocean, and no new families will ever come subsea. That's why. I ducked under her arm and waded into a dark corridor. My parents worked hard for what we have, I said over my shoulder, same as everyone down here. You think I want to be the reason the settlement fails? She fell into step beside me. At least tell me how it happened. Did you just wake up one morning and realize you could talk to dolphins? I can't talk to them. I caught her impatient look. Okay, dolphins and whales can hear my clicks, and when I hear theirs, I can tell what kind of call it is. Happy, danger, food.
Whoa.
But we're not having a conversation. The corridor was lined with closed doors, a cell block. I tried the first one on the right, but it was locked. Gemma aimed the flashlight into my face like an interrogator. All right, I relented, lifting a hand to shade my eyes. It didn't happen overnight. After I turned 9, the ocean got noisier and noisier, but nobody else thought so. I noticed more sounds out of water too, so I just figured my hearing was getting better. After a while, I could tell the difference between an original sound and its echo, so I began to make noises and judge distances that way. And then one day, it all came together, and I realized that I could see what I heard. Why? What were you doing? Nothing. Lying in bed with my eyes closed, I said, remembering every detail about that morning. And Ma called me to breakfast. When I answered her, I heard my voice bounce around my room, and then I realized I could see my room without opening my eyes. Glacial. No, it was weird.
I love that.
Did you?
Glacial.
Right.
So good.
Did you tell your parents right away? I hesitated. Did I want to dip into the rest of it? Not even a toe. Yes, I admitted finally. I told them. I focused on trying another door, but it was locked too. When I turned back, she was standing in my path again. And? She asked. And they hauled me topside and took me to a slew of doctors. My throat was so tight. Soon I wouldn't be able to swallow. After weeks of blood tests and brain scans, the doctors couldn't find anything wrong, but they wanted to keep poking at me. That was putting it mildly. The hospital wouldn't release me, and then child services got involved. My parents had to go to court to get me back, and even then, it looked like the judge might rule against them and make me a ward of the well. So I pretended I couldn't do it anymore. The doctors believed you? I doubt it, but they couldn't prove anything. When I use my sonar, they see activity in a part of my brain that most people don't use. When I don't use my gift, there's no activity. They couldn't justify keeping me any longer. I'm just lucky my real name wasn't in the files. That doctor who wrote that article you're always on about, Dr. Metzger, he never even met me. He heard about the court case and then got all his information from the hospital files. My parents were furious about it. But they know the truth, right? That you can still do it? Turning away, I tried another door. The knob turned, but the door stuck. You lied to your parents? I threw my weight against the door, and it fell off its corroded hinges, slamming to the floor. I barely kept my balance as water gushed past me, flooding into the room. Instead of shining the flashlight into the darkness ahead, Gemma continued to shine its beam on me. I get it, you don't want to be some medical experiment, but there's no but, I snapped. The doctors blamed the water pressure, said it was messing up my brain. They told my parents to move to the topside permanently. Well, I got a good look at how you people live, like hagfish, piled on top of one another. No offense, but I'd rather risk brain damage. They're your
Saying
parents.
saying you people in any context never works well.
Right.
Oh boy. Sorry to interrupt.
You can't just use that phrase.
For
You can't
real.
just say you people like that.
Yeah, don't say it like that. Dang.
They're your parents. Not to mention something isn't the same. Not mentioning something isn't the same as lying. What are you? 6? Of course it is. She sloshed into the room. Good to know where you draw the line, I scoffed. Lying is bad, but stealing, that's just a neat trick your brother taught you. Turning her back on me, she explored the room with the flashlight. Clearly the conversation was over. Too bad it hadn't ended sooner. I followed her past the bunk beds that lined the room. Most of the mattresses were missing, but blankets and sheets dangled from the bars like laundry strung up in the darkness. The flashlight's beam slid across the posters taped to the walls, a graphic of a parasailer, comic book illustrations, a photo of a little girl with strawberry blonde hair and a gap-toothed grin. The weight of the ocean compressed the hard-shelled building, causing it to creak and groan. Let's get out of here. I'm not going to find out anything about the outlaws in here. Nothing that makes sense, anyway. With her back to me, Gemma returned the flashlight's beam to the photo taped to the wall by an upper bunk. She sloshed closer for a better look. Probably some prisoner's daughter, I guessed, coming up behind her, shoving the flashlight into my hands. She clambered onto the top bunk. Carefully, she picked at the tape that held the photo in place. Her movements were jerky, feverish. What was she doing? Her breath came out in short bursts as she peeled the last corner of the photo from the wall. That's you, I said, suddenly understanding. She cradled the picture in her hands. Why didn't you tell me your brother was in prison? Don't you get it? Her voice cracked. This wasn't a prison. Shining the flashlight at the posters once again, I saw what she meant. Parasailers and comic illustrations? Those were images that grown men taped by their beds, especially not hardened criminals. It was a reformatory, I gasped. This was where Eel got his shine. Pretty, too. They were the ones who'd worn the handcuffs and panned for manganese nodules. The walls emitted a metal-on-metal screech that stiffened my spine, and suddenly I remembered that Doc once had first-hand contact with the inmates of Sea Blight. He'd monitored their health. Last night, when he told the story of the outlaws' escape, he'd known that they were underage boys at the time, younger than me. Yet Doc had led us to believe they were grown men. Had called Sea Blight a prison, even though no one put 13-year-olds in prison. Or did they? I don't get it. I struggled to find the reason behind Doc's misrepresentation. Why would the wealth force kids to live down here? Gemma's expression turned bitter. Space is precious. Drawing up her legs, she huddled on the top bunk with her long braid wrapped around her neck like a collar. The wealth isn't going to waste an inch of it on juvenile delinquents. Your brother spent 4 years in here? Glancing around the dismal room, I felt a trickle of sympathy for the boys who'd formed the Sea Blight gang. No wonder they kept robbing supply ships. If I'd been locked up in here, I'd be mad at the government, too. Gemma pressed her forehead into her knees as if to block out my question. Or maybe she was trying hard to deny the obvious conclusion that Richard might be in the Sea Blight gang. Shivering, she clasped her arms around her legs. Her dyed skin was on the fritz because it was too loose on her, unless it wasn't the frigid air making her tremble. I waited closer. Are you okay? She shook her head. Maybe a topsider would know what to say to her, but I just stood there, stymied and feeling useless, wondering if I should touch her arm or if she'd take it the wrong way. Please, she whispered without raising her face. Just leave me alone. Ooh.
Yikes, dude. This is a
Bah.
heavy Heavy one.
Well, that's enough foreshadowing for me. Richard is definitely in the Sea Blight gang.
Yeah. Oh no. Bad, 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 bad. Big bad style. Oy vey.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of dots are connecting. A lot of uncomfy feelings.
Right.
My God. I gotta digest that one. I need to use the bathroom, so I think we should do a quick BRB.
Yeah, I also gotta use the bathroom.
Cool. Then we will do a little BRB. I'll throw up the BRB and mute and stuff real quick and play some music, and we'll be right back. Yeehaw. Rock to it. Okay. Cool. Sorry. Just getting everything set up again. My God. Get the cool underwater music going. Underwater sound more than anything. And unmute myself on here. Things are getting crazy. Like, yikes. We're finding out a lot. I'm still trying to process what we just found out, or the foreshadowing of everything. Yeah. Who's ready to get back into it? So that was chapter 18, and now we are back. We're on chapter 19 now, and we're gonna be doing in 5 chapter increments, and I think there's like 30, almost 30. No, there's 29 chapters, so almost 30 chapters. So we'll go until 20 today. Yeah.
Yep, sounds good.
Yeah, I think that's a good plan. Depending on the book too, right? And how long the chapters are, but this one I feel like has really good pacing. Excuse me. Okay, I need to drink a little more water. Okay. All right. Chapter 19. Oh yeah, I also want to send it in chat for chat markers for people. There we go. Chapter 19. Oh my God. Sorry, I'm just like throwing my mic around. With an ache behind my eyes, I swam along the dark corridor on Sea Blight's first level, which was completely flooded. Gemma probably thought I didn't care that she was miserable, which made me feel worse than if she knew the truth. That I was just plain stupid. I touched down and a cloud of sludge rose off the floor. A door stood open. I didn't want to bother Gemma just yet, so I figured I might as well look around. I squeezed past the door, and before I even got a glimpse of the room, the ugly snout of a grenadier slammed against my helmet. I batted the fish aside and glided forward. My crown lights bounced off the metal cabinets and an examination table, giving the underwater room an eerie glow. Circling in place, I realized I was in the infirmary. I staggered back and my skin grew clammy. I'd entered unprepared, hadn't steeled myself. Now feelings of panic and loneliness entwined within me, the way they always did when something triggered memories of my time in the hospital. But just as my anxiety was smothering the here and now, a low vibration rolled through the room. It was gone before I'd gotten the chance to listen carefully. I hovered, hoping I hadn't imagined it, and then it came again. My ears caught the sound as it intensified, and I relaxed. Somewhere outside, not too far away, a humpback whale was singing. Closing my eyes, I let the music reverberate through me. Hopefully, one floor up, Gemma was listening and the whale song comforted her as much as it did me. When the lone humpback began a new chorus, I calculated that the animal was about a mile away and coming closer. An idea came to me. A crazy, wonderful idea. I swam through the open elevator doors and up the shaft, surfacing at the top of the ladder as the whale's song died away. That's when I heard Gemma scream for help. I dove under the water and swam into the guard station. Silently, I broke the surface to see her hunkered on top of the desk. The same instant, she caught sight of me rising from under the water and splashed backward, dropping her flashlight and unsheathing her jade knife. "Gemma, it's me!" I scrambled to unfasten my helmet. "What's wrong?" "Why didn't you walk through the door like a normal person?" she demanded once she'd caught her breath. "I swim faster than I walk. Are you okay?" Just then, the whale began singing again. She grabbed my arm. "Do you hear it?" Careening around, she looked for the source of the noise. Now I understood why she'd panicked. "Let me guess. You think that's a ghost?" Slow realization spread over her face. "It's a whale, isn't it? A stupid whale." "Whales aren't stupid." My sense of humor was returning. She raised an eyebrow and pointed toward the corridor where a glowing light darted under the water. I suppose you know what lanternfish." Maybe I shouldn't have cut her off like such a know-it-all, because she frowned as if I'd planted the lanternfish there just to frighten her. "You told me to go away," I reminded her. I didn't know there was going to be an inhuman howling along with a glowy thing chasing me. Anyone would have thought it was a ghost. "Chasing you?" With her hands on her hips, she was clearly not amused. "You knew I'd be scared out of my wits within 5 seconds, didn't you?" "No, I did." She steamrolled over my words. "Then you came back so you could split your dive skin, laughing at the dumb topsider." If that were true, I would have brought friends. I scooped up the flashlight and handed it to her. Just then, the whale's singing grew louder. "Come on, he's almost here." I took her by the hand and pulled her toward the elevator shaft, glad that she didn't yank her fingers out of mine. Whales are curious. I flipped my helmet into place. If we go outside and turn on our crown lights, maybe he'll come over for a look. Why on earth would we want that? I snapped her helmet shut and fastened it for her. "Just let yourself sink," I said. Together we breathed in liquigen and jumped into the dark water that filled the shaft. Once we were outside, the whale's song was even louder. Gemma clamped her hands over her dive helmet as if covering her ears, while I unspooled the ripcord in my belt. I had clips on both ends and was coated with soft rubber. It had clips on both ends. Okay, I was like, I didn't say that right. And was coated with soft rubber. I fastened one end of the ripcord to my belt, then looped the other end and clipped it to the main line. I could see the wheel was still a ways off, plowing along 40 feet above the seafloor. When our crown lights didn't slow him down a whit, I mimicked a humpback's short, social clicks. Sure enough, the enormous creature stopped singing through his 2 blowholes and angled downward. With his long side fins flapping, he came straight at us, all 30-plus tons of him. He wasn't too pretty heads on, with his face covered in whiskered bumps and scars that were probably carved by an orca's teeth. I checked Gemma's reaction. She seemed stunned but didn't back away. Just before the whale reached us, he sent out what felt like a sigh of greeting. The sound was lower than even I could hear, but I sensed the water's vibrations. Maybe Gemma felt the low-frequency wave as well, for she seemed to relax as it rolled over her and even smiled when the whale passed just above our heads. Struggling to stay upright in his slipstream, Gemma reached up and, touching the 50-foot humpback without fear, trailed her fingers along one of the grooves that ran from his chin to his barnacle-covered belly. There we go. I got into position so that just as his tail pumped downward, I slipped the makeshift lasso over his flukes and wound the ripcord around my forearm. As soon as I pulled the lasso tight, the slack in the cord spun out. Grinning, Gemma threw her arms around my neck and pressed close. An instant later, the line jerked taut. For a timeless second, our eyes met, and I could see that Gemma's excitement matched my own. And then we were swept off our feet. We flew through the water, laughing and whipping back and forth in the whale's wake, with me holding onto the ripcord and Gemma holding on to me. Aw, that gave me like goosebumps. That was really cute. Wow. What a dream. What a cool thing to experience. Wow. That was like, I mean, I would be super scared because they're so big, but it's also like really cool and really amazing. So, yeah. Squonk, you there? Homie Slice.
Forgot I was muted for a second.
No worries.
No, I was just saying that is so funny. He's sitting there like, "Oh, you just think I'm a freak, don't you?" And
I know.
proceeds to drop the most dubious subsea riz on Gemma. Is like, "Why are you looking at me like that?"
Period. And it's like, that's so cute that they kind of just like exchange that moment of like looking at each other with excitement. Like,
Right, just having the most fun despite the circumstances.
seriously, like, fuck, if it's like, I mean, it's such a
Like, they
different world.
literally just escaped outlaws, and they're
Yeah.
like, well, what if we just went on this cutesy little, like, whale date?
Yeah, what if we just like trailed behind this whale for a little bit and rode the waves? Caught some wake, bro. Like,
Right? Wholesome. Love it.
really cute. Like, genuinely.
Alrighty. Chapter 20. Just outside the Peavy's bubble fence, I released the lasso from the whale's tail, and Gemma and I touched down on the seafloor. Pushing past the bubbles, I led her through the kelp field, only to stop before we reached the last row. At her questioning look, I pointed at a hovering sub that had just arrived, trailing a loosely drawn net filled with rockfish. As a throng of settlers gathered to unfasten the net and unload bins, we slipped into the hustle unnoticed. I pointed out my mother, and Gemma watched as Ma pried the lid off a container. A cloud of blue burst out of the box, a school of full-grown shad. Every family in the territory had brought some of their own livestock to replace what Cheryl and Lars had lost. Spotting us,
Wow.
Ma smiled and waved. Right. I knew she thought we'd just come from the trade station, having retrieved Gemma's duffel bag. Now I was going to stir up her fears again by telling the other settlers about my run-in with Shade. Around us, my neighbors signed to one another, rapid fire. I wondered if Gemma realized that they were asking about her. Lars darted about, shaking hands with settlers, while settlers swam up to the moon pool and climbed into the house. Trying to follow the crowd, Gemma hopped but sank immediately back to the seafloor. Rather than remind her to release the fins in her boots, I signed upward at the settlers by the moon pool. Instantly, a rope ladder unfurled, nearly hitting her on its way down. I tugged it straight and offered her the ladder with a grand sweep of my arm. I thought my teasing might annoy her, but she surprised me with a grateful smile before clambering upward to the house. Inside the wet room, settlers unhinged their helmets and towel-dried their dive skins until the metallic fabric gleamed. I nodded and answered everyone who called out my name or smiled at me, but my gaze was on Pa across the room, speaking to a cluster of settlers who hadn't been at yesterday's meeting with Representative Tupper. Perched on the lip of the moon pool, Gemma took a deep breath to clear her lungs, while looking about curiously. I hoped she wouldn't say anything about the other kids' shines. Gasps of surprise and dismay exploded across the room, followed by angry exclamations of, "They can't!" and "What does that mean for us?" Clearly, Pa had just broken the news about the Commonwealth's decision to abandon the territory. Heart constricting, I set my boots and helmet against the wall. "Ty," Gemma whispered. "Those little kids are staring at us." "At you." I set her helmet next to mine. "Why?" "Jibby told you yesterday, and you didn't believe him." Across the room, Pa headed upstairs with a contingent of angry settlers. Those who were left set about cleaning up the equipment bay. "Hey, Pete," I called to a neighbor. "Is Doc here?" "Yeah, upstairs," with a smile Pete added. "Howdy, Gemma." Her mouth dropped open, but in a flash she recovered and returned his smile. "Okay, I get it," she said to me. "Down here I'm a rarity. Some might even call you an oddity." Her eyes glinted with pleasure, as if I'd just paid her a compliment. "Behind you," I said as the surface of the moon pool began to churn. Gemma whirled to see a black shape rising out of the water and scrambled to her feet. "It's a sub," I assured her. "Not another scary singing whale." She gave me a shove. The sub's hatch opened, and Mammy called out, "Who's going to give me a hand with all this food?" Instantly, a line formed, and the platters and bowls were passed from one person to the next, out of the hatch and right up the stairs. "Did she make all of this herself?" Gemma asked as she handed me a sea pineapple pie. "No, all the families contributed something." Mammy went around and collected it all to bring today. "It's easier to unload one sub," I explained. "Gemma," Jibby nudged his way into line between us. "How do you like benthic territory?" He passed a platter of crab cakes to me without peeling his gaze from her. "I love it." "What part?" I was shocked. In one day, she'd witnessed a knife fight, escaped capture by outlaws, and discovered that her brother had been sent to a subsea reformatory. Not exactly benthic territory at its best. "This," with a wave, she indicated the line of talking settlers. "Want to stay subsea permanently?" Jibby asked. "I've got 100 acres. When Gemma's brow crinkled with confusion, I gave her the translation. "He's asking you to marry him." A laugh caught in her throat and came out as a cough. "I'm too young." "Oh, well." Jibby's face fell. "It just gets awful quiet with no one else around," he mumbled. "You're always welcome at our place," I said. "You know that." He ignored me. "Hey, I know. How about you come visit for a while, as long as you'd like," he told Gemma. "I've got 3 empty bedrooms. You can have your pick. Heck, take the whole house. I'll move into an outer building." When she didn't reply immediately, I broke out of line to face her. "You're not considering it." "A whole house?" she asked pointedly. "I've never even had my own room." I couldn't tell whether she was teasing or not. Spinning on my heel, I headed for the stairs. "While you plan your visit, I'm going to ask Doc about the place we found." "Not without me." Thrusting a seafood casserole into Jibby's hands, she ran after me. "That's a standing invite," Jibby called out.
Oh,
"At
Jibby,
any
come on.
time."
Back off, Jibby.
Yeah, dude is desperate.
Real.
The main floor of the Peavy's house was packed with settlers, clearing away the last of the men. In the living room, Doc stood with a group of settlers in grim discussion. I couldn't bring myself to question him in front of the others. I was too angry about being lied to, so I was relieved when Cheryl waylaid me and thrust a plate into my hands. Ty, will you start the buffet line? The food is getting cold. And Gemma, honey, take 2 helpings of everything. A tide pool could drag you under. Oh. I followed orders since the more I thought about it, the more I realized that discussing sea blight in front of Gemma might not be a good idea now that she knew that her brother was one of the escaped convicts in Doc's story. After serving ourselves from the bounty laid out on the dining room table, Gemma and I joined Hewitt and Zoe on the stairs that led up to the bedrooms. Beyond the windows, the boundary lamps dimmed until they resembled pale moonlight. Why do you look so glum? Gemma asked, taking a seat next to Hewitt. I can't believe how quickly your house got put right. Lucky me, he picked at the crab claw on his plate. You didn't really think your parents were going to move topside, did you? I asked, settling 2 steps up. They're tougher than that. But I want to live where I don't have to do chores all day, along with schoolwork. Topsiders, he pointed at Gemma, don't have to do anything. They push a button and they have food. Flick a switch and the garbage is gone. Turn a knob and friends come over. Really? Zoe nudged Hewitt to sit up next to her. Instantly, he scooted up a step. Don't ask me, Gemma said, shrugging. I'm not your average topsider. That kind of lazy living that made a mess of this planet, I snapped. People wanted everything to be easy and disposable. Look where it got us. Why aren't you like other topsiders? Zoe asked. I'm a ward of the Commonwealth. So? Hewitt turned his back to me. Well, it's just that families pay for their kids to live in boarding homes, she explained. Well, I get moved into whatever dorm has an empty bed that month. She went on quickly. It's okay. Most of the time, I'm with the little girls, and they're fun. She grinned. I taught the 6-year-olds every bad word I know. Eek. I got as far as, please don't, when Zoe yelled, teach me. Teach them to Zoe. I finished. She threw her arms around Gemma. Ma and Pa will adopt you. They always wanted more kids, right, Ty? They did. She continued as if I'd answered. But they didn't have any more because Ma got too scared after Ty went to the hospital. Hewitt became absorbed in pushing peas across his plate. Thanks, Gemma said, smiling. But I'm going to live with my brother. Still have to find him. What if he's not even in Benthic territory? Zoe asked. Shooting me a pained look, Gemma said, I know he was here. I'm just not sure what he's up to now. Stow it, shrimp. I wanted to get Zoe off the topic of Gemma's brother, but also I wanted to hear what the raised voices in the other room were saying. Raj Durrani's snarl rang out loud and clear. Representative Tupper said, dead or alive, next time someone sees the Spectre, I say we torpedo her. I'll be right back. I set my plate aside. Quietly, I slunk down the hall and into a corner of the kitchen in case my parents thought that I wasn't old enough for such talk. The adults had paused in their task of restocking the cabinets to form a casual circle. You'd kill them without a trial? Ma asked hotly. Even if Representative Tupper condones it, it's vigilante justice, which isn't justice at all. Scowling, Lars touched the bandage on his head. We have the right to protect ourselves. If we start ignoring the law, Pa said, this won't be a community worth saving. I'll join a posse so long as our intent is to find the outlaws and turn them over to the Maritime Rangers. Think a judge will convict them? Doc said evenly. At Pa's scowl, he put up his scarred palms. All I'm saying is you know the legal system is overloaded. The mainland prisons are packed to the rafters, same with the penal shift. Unless the evidence is rock solid, the criminal goes free. Doc's right, Lars said. We know what we know, but we don't have proof. We can't even ID them. Their dive gloves don't leave fingerprints, and they keep their helmets darkened when they're robbing supply ships. Not Shade, Raj pried his seaweed cigar from his mouth. Pretty hard to miss an albino in a lineup. Shade is an albino. The words tumbled out of my mouth before I'd thought it through. Everyone in the kitchen turned to look at me. Why do you say that, son? Lars asked. My gut plummeted. I had planned to tell the others about my discovery, but this wasn't the time or place. There was a ferocity in Raj's expression that scared me. John, your boy says Shade ain't an albino, Raj growled. What's he know that we don't? I already told Ranger Grimes what I know, I stammered. Raj mashed out his cigar in a cup. That dryback has chum for brains. Whoa! Was that a topside film? That... Woof. Okay. He couldn't hook a fish, swimming in a bathtub. Tell us exactly what you told him, Ty, Lars demanded. Taking Gemma's words about keeping secrets to heart, I spilled all of it. How I came face to face with Shade in the kelp field and then recognized him in the saloon. I didn't even leave out my encounter with him in the elevator or the sub chase, although I saw my parents exchange a look that froze me to the core. I knew what they were thinking, that I couldn't be trusted to follow their rules and keep myself safe. Why would Shade use zinc paste? Cheryl asked when I finished my story. Why not just darken his helmet like the rest of the gang? Because you'd know him by his size if you ran into him, Lars growled. You'd suspect anyway. But if you think the man's an albino, you focus on that. Raj unholstered his pistol. Big don't stop a harp pin, he said, checking that its barrel was loaded with mini harpoons. This discussion has gone far enough. Ma sent a stern glance around the group. Raj, put the gun away. Sure, he said, holstering it. But it's coming out again as soon as I hit the wreck deck. He turned to Lars. You coming? A mudslide couldn't stop me. Let's round up some of the others, too. Shade isn't there now, I pointed out. I told you, the Spectre came after us. My words had no effect on them. They stormed out of the kitchen, leaving me torn up inside, not sure whether I'd done the right thing by telling them. Pa's look of disappointment told me what he thought. I'll fetch Zoe and Gemma, Ma said. We're going home. She and Cheryl left the kitchen. Pa too. I started to follow, but Doc drew me back with a hand on my arm. Stay a minute, he requested in a low voice. He seemed puzzled by something, disturbed even. Describe the man you saw in the saloon again, the one you think was Shade. Only this time, tell me about his features, not his skin color. Why? Indulge me. That was just about the last thing I was in the mood to do. I found sea blight, I said instead. He looked at me sharply, but something in my expression must have told him that I wouldn't be put off. It's not hidden, he said, sounding resigned, and picked up his plate of food. It wasn't a prison. I couldn't keep the anger out of my voice. It was a reformatory. Technically, he acknowledged with a shrug. If you'd met those boys, you'd understand. All of them. Sociopaths and criminals. They were just kids, I'd argued. Younger than me. And the wealth kept them on the seafloor in handcuffs. Your point? You're lying when you call it a prison. You're covering up what the government did. Doc's plate clattered onto the counter. You think I don't want to talk about what happened in there? Think I didn't try? His dark eyes blazed. 5 years ago, the Wealth filed the Seablight incident under confidential, and if someone dared mention it, he was stripped of everything he cared about. Me, I got demoted and discredited. So don't lecture me about honesty, Ty. We all have our secret. I hesitated, but could think of no reason to hold back. Gemma's brother was sent to Seablight. Doc turned whiter than a clam. What was his name? Richard Strayed. Suddenly pensive, Doc rubbed one of his scarred palms. You remember him? Is he in the Seablight gang? I asked, voicing the worry that had plagued me ever since Gemma found her picture on the reformatory wall. No, Doc drew out the word, still deep in thought. He was the prospector they killed. Sorrow spread through me like pufferfish toxin. Sorrow for the freckled boy in the photo, but most of all, for Gemma. Computer made the match an hour ago, Doc went on softly, now meeting my eyes. Richard Strade's DNA was in the system because he spent time in a government institution, a reformatory. He must have broken out with the others, I guessed, trying to put the pieces together in a way that made sense. But then Richard went his own way as a prospector. And then what? The gang decided they couldn't trust him? He would have known their real names, Doc agreed. So they hunted him down and killed him. I felt sick at the thought. Maybe it would be better not to tell Gemma. What was the harm in letting her believe that her brother was still out there, even if she couldn't find him? As we just discussed, it's best to be honest when you can, Doc said, as if he'd read my mind. Bring her here, and I'll tell her. It's okay, said a quiet voice behind us. I heard. Oh, that's brutal.
Oh no.
That's brutal.
Damn. Double damn,
Yeah.
triple damn. Triple fuck.
Omega. Ooh.
Omega ow. What the heck? Oh my god. Well, that is not ideal.
Is it a cope if I want to believe that he actually is in the Seablight gang and there's just some nonsense going on there that we don't understand yet?
Yeah. No, like, I think that's
I don't care if it's a
possible.
cope, I'm gonna think that too.
It's possible. If it is to cope, that's okay. It could potentially, maybe.
You know what? Better
I
if
don't
you think
know.
he's dead and find out he's still alive than the opposite.
Yeah. No, literally. Oh my god. My brain is just spinning.
Poor Gemma.
And if, too, like, I just have so many things. Like, if any of the other members of the Seablight gang, oh my gosh! Hello, Dirty Raiders fan. Thank you for the follow. Welcome. Welcome in. Like, if anyone else from that place is in the Seablight gang, like, and were those any of those guys that were at that bar, would they have recognized Gemma from the picture on the wall? Like, there's so many things that
Right. Well, not just that, but showing his picture around at the
yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
gang would have recognized him.
It would have been like, hey, what the fuck? Yeah, no, literally, that one went me, the picture on the wall.
Oh crap! Do you think that might be why Jade was like hovering over Gemma like that? or the shadow or whatever it was.
Oh, no. I hope
Like
not.
maybe, like, not only was she actively showing Richard's picture around in the saloon when they saw him, like, tattoos and all,
Yeah.
but past that, he would also probably be aware of the picture of Gemma that Richard had.
Yep. Oh, no. But
He might even want to kill Gemma out of a sense of, like, what if her brother told her about us?
literally,
Oh no.
there's a lot of things that can go wrong right now. I feel like the
Right.
Spider-Man meme, and it's like, like it would be so many things. My brain hurts because I'm like, oh,
Well, this is really going to reinforce Gemma's feelings of needing to be here for whatever is going on.
literally,
Because even if she's not looking for her brother anymore, which was kind of unfortunately turning into a very fruitless endeavor,
right?
now she's going to want to avenge him. Especially with all of that stay tough shit.
Yeah.
No, I'd prefer to think that he's just a gang member and wants people to think he's dead.
Yeah. That's also what I want. Also, Winterset, congrats. I love that you're having a little snack. Good for you, Pookie Pie. I had a little snack earlier today. We did that. Yeah. Oh my God, my brain just hurts. Like there's.
Also, I redeemed a hydrate.
Yeah,
Sippy.
I sipped hard. I'm gonna keep sipping. Everybody who wants to drink water, me. I had a lot of caffeine already, so I made sure instead of having an energy drink this time, it's all water, baby. All water.
I'm being really strict with myself about only one energy drink a day.
That's what I'm trying to do too, because yesterday, like after stream, I was so tired and I felt so awful. So I literally chugged like 3 of these. And the way that I like my energy returned and I was able to be like alive for multiple more hours after that. I was like, yeah, I really just need to drink water.
Oof.
Yeah.
Also, just the unintended hearing of it on Gemma's. Oh,
I know. Yeah, that was
I mean,
emotional damage.
for real.
Shit. He couldn't even like prep her. Like it's just too late. She's getting one blow after the other.
Yup, this poor girl is. Like I said, if her brother is in the gang, at least she can be pleasantly surprised that he actually is alive.
Yeah, genuinely. Oh my God. I'm so glad that we actually are having book club tomorrow and not like pushing into till next week so that we can keep figuring out what's going on, because I don't know if I can wait that long to like.
Right, the cliffhanger got you in a chokehold right now.
Literally. The last one already did too, but now I'm like, it's even worse. It's worse.
Also, I can't get over how perfectly the 5 chapters has been working out with time frame.
Genuinely, yeah, it's been pretty solid. I'm like, okay, work. Yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me with reading.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna go work on house stuff because I want to get more thing unpacking done. And tonight I will work on posting videos for y'all so that the VODs are on YouTube. Yeah.
Yes, and so that anyone who's missed it can get caught up with the book.
Exactly, and they don't have to watch it through Twitch, which I think like I don't think they do it with VODs, but I'm worried they still run ads. That's what I'm worried about. I don't want them. I mean, if you already have ads on YouTube, whatever, but it's just people have preferences, you know?
Right. Right. Especially because unless the streamer is actively paying attention, sometimes they keep going right through the ad breaks and
Exactly. Yeah, I feel like we didn't. I mean, of course, there's only like one every hour, right? But I feel like we only. I mean, maybe we did have two for each hour, but there wasn't as many as the other day when we did that. So I don't know. It just felt
right.
like there was a lot at once for some reason. Um, but yeah, I also realized that Prime subs are a free sub that people get if you have Amazon Prime and sign into it, or like Prime Gaming, like you do something where you just are like, yeah, my Prime's connected, and then you can get a free sub to a creator. So, um,
Mhm.
if you want to do free subs, that's a good way to get one, because then you have access to all of the sub features, like, and then you just have to manually resub each month. Apparently, is the thing. It doesn't like carry over the same way. I know.
Yep, you just gotta redo it each month, and it's just in case you want to be able to like use your free sub for a different creator on a different month.
It's awesome. Yeah, I love that. Um, and yeah, I feel that winter set, like even having Prime and Hulu is so expensive. So
Right.
even just having you guys following is an amazing support, and we appreciate it so much, like so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what
Every
like
view is much appreciated.
genuinely, and like to have people here, like I this week we've had more people in stream, like duration wise, than like ever. We had almost 9 people watching
Absolutely.
for like hours yesterday. That was was it yesterday, the day before? Just no, yesterday. Crazy though. Like that's awesome. That's amazing. I'm so grateful to have people wanting to be here, and like thank you guys.
Mhm.
Seriously, that's amazing. And having even we had
Oh,
like 6 people here too for this. That's amazing.
exactly.
It's freaking awesome, you guys. So thank you for being here. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm gonna try to do the proper 5 to 7. Just worried that I might get stuck in traffic trying to get back from my photo shoot. So just making sure to be a good communicator in case I run late.
All good. Keep us updated through the Discord.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And if you are new and want to, do if you want to join our Discord server and get notified first about everything, and Discord also get to enjoy Discord exclusive things like monthly movie nights, um, that is where you can join. There's the link. And yeah, I have I do photography and I model. So tomorrow I get to I'm doing a mommy and me photo shoot. So I'm really excited. It's gonna be cute. Gonna be real cute. I'm gonna take
So
pictures.
adorable.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Alrighty, I'm gonna hop out the Discord call.
All right,
Thanks for
homie.
having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate you too.
Awesome. I'll hop out too. Did that. And then I guess that's it, you guys. Have a good rest of your night. We love ya. See you tomorrow. Bye.